Well, in this video we are going to see how to do blocking of the muscles for this creature with block surfaces. Let's start adjusting a bit here. The most comfortable way I have found to do blocking is to create a helper object, which we will use as a reference, to define the initial shape of the muscle and size. Here creating with the indicated sizes. But if we select the reference object and with the shortcut and create and relocate the insertions in the position trying to have them well aligned one with the other. Now pressing the shortcut again, it will create the muscle with the intermediate objects we have indicated. We readjust and edit the muscle shapes as needed. And all we have left is to parent the insertions, the extreme objects, to the arm objects. We duplicate the muscle like any other arm and reposition it. Now we parent the extreme objects that are the insertions. We check that the muscle follows the arm. And now we can duplicate the muscle, relocate the new one, and by having the parent option, it will maintain the parents of the muscle we duplicated before, so we will not have to repeat the process of parenting. And basically this is the process we will do with all the muscles. Now it is a matter of creating the muscles in position, adjusting them, and taking advantage of duplicating them when we already have the parenting that serves us. We are readjusting volumes in the different parts either in editing mode or sculpting and testing how it works. It is important that the insertions are in the correct place, or perhaps not correct, but that it works well for us. Here in the neck we adjust a bit so that it gives us the effect we are looking for. In the end, they are basic muscles to do a blocking, and we have to take advantage of the advantages it gives us of speed and ease to create them, and we will have to deal with some inconveniences since it is not a rig that requires hours and hours of work. As you see, this can be a great tool to learn anatomy. Some good references in creating muscles on some characters will help you settle a lot of anatomical knowledge. And while it is to repeat the process for the different muscles, create insertion, place the second, and adjust sizes positions of the various possibilities we have. We keep relocating, adjusting. Like here the chest, parenting and testing how it behaves. We can reduce the volume we had for the deltoid shapeform now that the muscles give us the volume. We can adjust the size of the reference object to create new muscles. Let's go with the biceps. We will put one more intermediate object to better adapt. We parent. And we can adjust where the insertions go, so that it has a better effect when contracting and extending. Depending on where we place the insertion, the parent will move it, and thus we will achieve the stretching or contraction. Since it is not a rig, we do not have restrictions in some angles. It may make some unwanted rotation, but we can always readjust it later in the final pose. It will always be much faster having the muscle almost in its place than creating it new in each position. We keep reviewing and adjusting shapes as we see how they all work together. Let's go with the triceps, a complicated muscle group, but with the same process. Look for some good references to create the muscles and learn at the same time. We parent and test the behavior. Again, we can reuse duplicating. We can hide the final mesh to better see what we are doing in each object of the branch. We keep adjusting in the different parts. Now of the neck. When you enter Sculpt mode, the objects will be visualized again if you hid them in the header toolbar option. We select the reference object to now create the dorsal. We repeat the process, shortcut and to begin creating the muscle, and again to finalize after having the desired position for the second insertion. Remember that you can change the keyboard shortcuts to your liking in the add-in preferences. And as always, we adjust the volumes of the different objects of the muscle. Let's reduce the volume of the torso a bit, since now the muscles we have created give us volume. We parent and test. We adjust the size here of the torso in editing mode to not scale everything. Let's go create continuation here to simplify the shapes a bit. We will handle this muscle as a normal branch. Instead of parenting only the insertions, we parent each object to the closest one end. The Blocksurfaces properties will already make the mesh stretch and contract. But this way, in parts that can curve so much, it will maintain the muscle object better over the surface. As always, we keep testing. If at any moment the mesh does not refresh, select all, and with the V shortcut it will recalculate the meshes. We can add some subdivisions to the objects to better achieve the shapes, like here in the trapezius. You can do whatever you want with the branch objects, that the final mesh will adjust. Avoid overloading the scene too much, with many subdivisions or modifiers, etc. Let's create another muscle here to simulate the shoulder blade muscles with basic shapes. It will serve us. We parent and check its functioning. We continue adjusting some and others to achieve a better final shape when they all work together. I can keep adjusting the proportions because we'll be deleting the other arm and mirroring this one, including all the muscles. We reduced the volume of the forearm to make the muscles here. Repeat the process we have been doing. Once again with the reference object selected. We create the muscle and adjust it in volume and position for the correct insertions. Let's go adjusting the intermediate objects of the muscle in edit or sculpt mode. We check that it gives us the effect we want of contraction and extension. As you know, the most important thing is the position of the intermediate objects so that it deforms more credibly. We repeat the process with the inside of the forearm, the flexors. First, we need to finish adjusting some volumes. Let's do the symmetry for the other axis. Select the arm and all the muscles with which we want to make symmetry. Use the local branch view to see if everything is well selected. I can move to see if I see anything left behind without selecting it. And we will use the mirror branch option, as you have seen in other tutorials. Mirror branch creates new branches on the other side so we can make asymmetric poses. If we only need to make a mirror mesh, this will add the modifier to the final mesh, which is much faster to generate. And we will have the same shapes on the other axis, but we will not be able to make asymmetric poses. So we use mirror branch. We have to wait a little for it to duplicate and do all the hierarchies as we had them for each muscle. Sorry, I should have erased the arm without muscles before doing the mirror. so I have erased and regenerated the mirror. Now we have the arm on the other side with its muscles and hierarchies. Now we just have to parent the arm and muscles to the trunk. It looks like the mirror didn't work properly, so I'm going to delete it and do mirror branch again, but only for this muscle. We finished the parenting to the torso. This muscle, remember, we will parent each object to the closest one so that it follows so much torsion. You can use the shortcut to select the first plus the parent in the branch of the original muscle, so you will go much faster to finish. Parenting the muscles to the torso. I'm going to duplicate this part of the torso to create the serratus muscle. We copy the material, but the muscles have to better differentiate them. Again, in this case it is a normal branch that will follow each object to the closest one in order to follow the torso's torsion capacity. Let's parent and test that everything works. Here is something like where the serratus muscles will go, because they have a little bit of that volume. We parent each object in that branch to the torso so they follow the torsion. Let's try posing to see how it works. As always, we have the timeline to store all the poses we want. Selecting all the objects to create animation key. We position ourselves in another keyframe of timeline and create the new pose. Use the add-in shortcuts to move through the branches and select objects more quickly. Remember that it is not a rig, we do not have restrictions, so go with patience and care, adjusting the joints without exceeding a limit of what would be natural. Even so, this freedom also gives us the possibility of fixing some things by slightly falsifying the movement to achieve what we want. And with a little patience, we get a pose. Here it seems that I had not done the parenting of these parts on the back. I will go back and assign the parents correctly before continuing with the pose. And well, we can try putting several keys to see how the muscles behave in different intermediate poses. So as you see, creating muscles with Blocksurfaces is quick and easy, as it should be to make a blocking as artistically as possible. I hope you liked it. Thanks for getting here. If you enjoyed this video, please show your support by liking and subscribing.